Hi everybody, welcome to week 11 of our YouTube online classes. This week we're going to be focusing on our hips and our shoulders, so working on some hip rotations, some shoulder mobility and working towards Gomukhasana, cow face pose later on. First of all, we're going to start the class with some pranayama. So we're going to spend around 10 minutes working on the breath. So if you'd like to come into a lying down position, lie down on your backs, have the knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor, and then allow the knees to come together so the legs feel fully supported. Tuck the tailbone under and move the shoulder blades so the whole of the back feels comfortably supported by the floor. Move your shoulders away from your ears. The arms can just rest down by the sides for now. Resting the head evenly at the top of the neck, and then gently closing the eyes. Making any small movements you need to make your body completely comfortable. Becoming aware of the breathing. Anytime you find the mind elsewhere, just let those thoughts float away, bringing your awareness back to your breathing. So breathing in and out through the nose. And every time you breathe out, the breath becomes a little steadier, the mind a little calmer. Good. So beginning to take control of the breath now, taking the breath down into a place just behind your belly button. So if you can picture in your mind's eye that place about an inch behind your belly button, directing the breath to that place. And as you breathe out, feel that you're breathing out from that place, deep inside your body. Noticing any movements as you take the breath deep down into your body. Notice perhaps a rise and fall of the abdominal region. And then filling the breath from the bottom, and then the middle, and then the top, and emptying the lungs from the bottom, and then the middle, and the top. So a couple more deep full breaths like that, filling the lungs from the bottom to the middle to the top, and emptying the lungs from the bottom, and then the middle, and then the top. Good. Now taking the hands and placing the hands on the rib cage. You can either cup the rib cage with the hands, or if it feels more comfortable in the shoulders and the wrists, tuck the fingers under and have the backs of the fingers in contact with the middle of the rib cage. And then once again with your eyes closed, feel that you can breathe into your hands. So you may notice a slight movement in the rib cage as you breathe in and as you breathe out. And we're breathing into the mid-chest now. Good, so continuing to breathe into the mid-chest region. Take your arms out to the sides of your body with the palms facing up. So the arms are shoulder height, palms facing up. Continuing to breathe in the mid-chest. And the next time you breathe out, allow the arms to lift up to the ceiling so the palms come towards each other. You can touch the palms together if that feels okay. And as you breathe in, take the arms back out to the side. Breathing out, arms come together in front of you. And breathing in, arms come out to the side. So continue to breathe in that way. Mid-chest breathing, pranayama. As you breathe out, the arms come together, and as you breathe in, the arms separate and come towards the floor. Keeping the arms straight. And with the eyes closed, begin to feel as though it's the breath that's guiding the arms. So the arms simply move as an extension of your mid-chest breathing. And the next time you breathe in, just allow the arms to relax down by your sides. But continue to breathe into the mid-chest. Taking the awareness around the mid-chest, from the front to the sides to the back on the in-breath. And the back, sides, front of the mid-chest on the out-breath. Breathing in, mid-chest, front, sides, back. And breathing out, mid-chest, back, sides, front. Arms resting down by your sides now. Simply rotating the awareness around the ribcage with each breath. Good. And then releasing the control of the breath. Allow the breath to flow wherever it naturally wants to flow. Take some time with your eyes still gently closed. Noticing any changes, perhaps in changes in where you feel the breath. Perhaps the breath feels a little calmer, more steady. Any changes to the way that you feel. Gently taking a stretch out in any way that feels nice. Perhaps draw the knees up onto the chest. Move the back against the mat. And then rolling over onto your side. And using your hands to help you to come up into cat position. So the knees are under the hips, the wrists are under the shoulders. And we're going to begin to work and mobilise the spine. So as you breathe in, lift the tailbone, shrug the shoulders back and down, lift the head. And as you breathe out, tuck the tailbone, lift the upper back to the ceiling, and the head comes between the arms. Breathing in, moving from the tailbone all the way up the spine to the crown of the head. Breathing out, tailbone tucks under, rounding your back, and the head comes down. So continuing to breathe in that way, using your breath as a guide. And after a few rounds, feeling as though the spine can move independently in each of those sections. So the lumbar spine, the mid spine, and the upper spine. As you breathe in and as you breathe out. coming to a neutral cat, we're going to do a posture called threading the needle. So lift your right hand and we're going to thread the right hand underneath the body, in between the left wrist and the left knee. Slide the hand along the floor until the whole of the right arm rests on the floor and the side of your head rests down on the floor. The left hand can stay on the mat. Check in with your knees and see that there's equal contact between both knees. So you might have slipped over to one side, just bring the hips back into line. And enjoy a gentle twist here. Make sure your neck's comfortable. And then pushing into your left hand, coming back into cat. And then taking your left hand underneath the right side of the body. Left arm down onto the floor. Left side of the face on the floor. Taking a gentle twist to the other side. Making sure once more that the hips are equal, there's equal weight through the knees. Pushing through your right hand, lifting yourselves back into cat. There's a gentle tone in the abdomen, so keep your belly drawing into your spine. We're going to lift the right leg behind, stretching the right leg out behind you, lifting up gently through your shoulders so that you're not dropping into your shoulders. Gently pushing through your hands, and if this feels okay, you can also lift the left hand in front. So right leg, left hand. Gaze towards the left fingers or keep the gaze down towards the floor. Keep pushing through your right hand. And then lower the hand, lower the knee and go to the other side. So the left leg lifts behind. Keep the belly drawn in, remember. Keep pushing through your left hand as your right hand lifts. Active through the shoulders, gaze is either towards the right fingertips or down towards the floor, whichever is most comfortable in your neck. And then take the hand down and take the knee down. So hips stay over the knees, and you can have a feeling that if you rock back and forwards in cat and you move your hips back and forward, you can feel. If you move back, you feel the top of the shin bone, and if you move forward, you feel you come onto your kneecaps. Come into a place in between the two. If your knees don't like this and it feels too sensitive, take a blanket underneath your knees. And we're going to walk the hands away from the knees, but keep the knees in that same position. Keep walking the hands away, keep the arms straight or with a very small bend in the elbows. And when you feel that you've stretched as much as you can, begin to sink the chest down towards the floor. You can either look towards the fingers or you can rest the forehead down on the floor, but avoid sinking all of your weight into your head. We want to begin to open under the armpits. If this is super easy for you, come up onto your fingertips and create some more space for you to sink into here. Good. Begin to walk the hands back to the knees, into cat, tuck the toes under, swing the hips back towards the heels, lifting up into downward facing dog and walking the feet in towards the hands. Take the hands to the knees, breathing in and coming into a standing position, Tadasana. So come towards the front of your mats. We're going to practice our Surya Namaskar A, Sun Salutation A. Coming into Tadasana, mountain pose. So feeling that you can lift up with the toes, and then as you come down with the toes, spread the toes so that you can see your mat between your toes. Unstick the heels from the mat, and as you come down, feel the outer edges of the feet and then the heels touch down. There's a gentle lift on the inner arches. There's a horseshoe shape with the feet so that you feel grounded and a solid foundation through your mat. Gently lift up with the knees and thighs. Draw the abdomen in and tuck the tailbone under. Keep the lower ribs in, but lift through the collarbones. Roll the shoulders back and down away from the ears. And feel as though somebody were lifting you up with a string at the crown of the head. The arms resting gently by your sides. Draw the hands into prayer position at the heart centre. Let's breathe in together and breathe out together. On the in-breath, lower the arms, lift them up to the sky. Look up if that's okay in the neck. Breathing out, folding forwards and down. Soften the knees if you need to, especially on the first few rounds. As you breathe in, keep the tailbone lifted, but lift the chest and the gaze. Place the hands on the floor, draw the abdomen in, and as you breathe out, either jumping or stepping back into plank. Then chaturanga with the elbows bent and squeezed in. Breathing in, scooping forwards with the heart, lifting into upward facing dog. It's fine to drop the hips and have the elbows bent in cobra. As you breathe out, come back over the toes, pushing yourselves into downward facing dog. And we take 5 breaths here. Breathing in for 1. Breathing out for 1, adjust the hands and the feet so they're comfortable. Breathing in for 2. And breathing out for 2, spreading the fingers. Breathing in for 3. Breathing out for 3. You want to think about the index finger pointing forwards. Breathing in for 4. And breathing out for 4, pushing down through the pads and the balls of the fingers. Breathing in for 5. And as you breathe out, lift up onto the toes, round the back, gaze towards the hands, and either jump or step the feet towards the hands. Breathing in, create length and space by lifting the heart, and breathing out, folding into Uttanasana, forward fold, tuck the chin. As you breathe in, take the arms out, soften the knees a little to help you come up with a straight spine, and as you breathe out, hands to prayer position. Number 2, breathing in, extending up with the hands. Breathing out, softening, folding, Uttanasana. Breathing in, plant the hands, lift the gaze. Breathing out, jumping or stepping back. Plank, chaturanga, elbows bent. Breathing in, lifting the chest through the arms and up. And breathing out, back over the toes, downward facing dog. Breathing in for 1. And breathing out for 1, feel that you can soften the armpits down towards the mat. Breathing in for 2. Breathing out for 2, keep pushing the mat away with the hands. Breathing in for 3. Breathing out for 3, feel that you can wrap the triceps around towards the ears. Breathing in for 4. And breathing out for 4, separating the shoulder blades behind your back. Breathing in for 5. And breathing out. Come up onto the toes, gaze forward, draw the belly in, and jump or step towards your hands. Breathing in, lift the gaze. Breathing out, keep the tailbone high as you forward fold. Breathing in, coming all the way up, leading with the heart. And breathing out, take your hands back to your centre. Number 3, breathing in, lifting and lengthening. Breathing out, folding, softening. Draw the belly in as you fold. Breathing in, extend and lift. Breathing out, plank or chaturanga. Breathing in, upward facing dog or cobra. And breathing out, downward facing dog. Breathing in for 1. And breathing out for 1, lift the tailbone to the sky. Breathing in for 2. And breathing out for 2, feeling the opening in the backs of the legs. Breathing in for 3. Breathing out for 3, take the heels back and then down. Breathing in for 4. And breathing out for 4, thinking about the second toe pointing forwards. Breathing in for 5. Breathing out, come up onto the toes, bend the knees, gaze forwards and jumping or stepping back towards your hands. Breathing in, lengthen the body. Breathing out, keep that length as you forward fold. Breathing in, coming all the way up, stretch up to the sky, and breathing out, back to your starting position. Number 4, breathing in, stretching up. And breathing out, folding forwards and down. Breathing in, lift and lengthen, contact through your hands with the floor. Breathing out, jumping or stepping back, staying engaged through the core, drawing the belly into the spine. Upward facing dog as you breathe in, downward facing dog as you breathe out. Breathing in for 1. And breathing out for 1, keep the belly drawing in and up. Breathing in for 2. Breathing out for 2, keep the tailbone lifting high. Breathing in for 3. Breathing out for 3, pushing through the hands, sinking with the shoulders. Breathing in for 4. And breathing out for 4, stretching up the sides of the body as well. Breathing in for 5. And breathing out, up onto the toes, gaze forward, round the back, jump and step towards the hands. Breathing in, lift and lengthen, create space. Breathing out, draw the belly in to draw you deeper into your forward fold. Breathing in, coming all the way up. And breathing out, draw it back to your centre. Last one, number 5. Breathing in, arms lengthening, fingers extending. Breathing out, forward fold. Breathing in, lift and lengthen, draw the belly in. Breathing out, jumping or stepping back, staying strong through the core. Breathing in, upward facing dog or cobra. Breathing out, downward facing dog. And breathing in for 1. And breathing out for 1. Breathing in for 2. Breathing out for 2, using Ujjayi breathing if that feels good. Breathing in for 3. Breathing out for 3, controlling the breath with the throat. Breathing in for 4. And breathing out for 4, keeping the breath steady. Breathing in for 5. And as you breathe out, lift up onto the toes, gaze forwards around the back, jumping or stepping back to the hands. Breathing in, lift the gaze, lift the heart. Breathing out, draw the belly in, forward fold. Breathing in, coming all the way up. And breathing out, draw the hands back to your heart centre, pausing here. It's fine to close the eyes. Allow the breath to return to a steady, comfortable rhythm. Absorbing the energy of your Surya Namaskar practice. Okay, so we're going to come into a balance now. We're going to come into eagle pose, Garudasana. So Garudasana involves an inward rotation of the hips. So we're starting to begin to think about this movement in the hips. So if you can stand in Tadasana and just practice that movement of taking the knee out and taking the knee in, and perhaps just place your fingers at the very top of the thigh here in your hip joint and notice that movement in your hip. So the inward rotation that we need for eagle is where the knee comes in. So you may begin to feel a stretch up the outside of the leg. Okay, and then just play around with the other leg. See if you can notice any difference on this side. Again, just touching in the hip joint so that you can actually feel that movement happening and notice the difference between this outward rotation and this inward rotation. Okay, so for eagle pose, it's an inward rotation. Come into Tadasana to start with, so feeling grounded through both feet, drawing up through the knees and thighs, gently tucking the tailbone under, lift with the upper chest, roll the shoulders back and down. Coming up onto the toes of your right foot, and just lift the toes and place them down the opposite side of the left foot. So this is the first movement for the legs, and it might be that if your balance feels good here, you might want to stay here. Okay, if this feels okay, you can play with just lifting that foot off of the ground and placing it, touching it gently on the outside of the calf. Okay, for now the hands can just be on the hips. Okay, now start to soften the standing leg and do the same thing. So touch the toes down, then lift them up. Touch them down, lift them up. If that feels okay and you can go a bit further, then I'm going to encourage you to cross, soften that left leg and cross the right leg up as high as the thighs you can get it, and you may be able to tuck the toes behind the calf. So a nice high cross with the leg, soften the standing leg, tuck the toes under. If the toes don't tuck, don't worry, just place them on the outside of the calf. Good. And then come up and we'll go to the other side. So soften both knees, lift up onto the toes of the left foot, and then take the toes onto the other side of the standing foot. And then from here, lifting up, placing the foot on the outside of the shin calf, placing the toes back down. If that feels okay, soften the standing leg, cross the thighs as high up as you can, and wrap the leg. Once again, if the toe doesn't wrap, that's fine. Notice what happens with your hips. Temptation might be for the hips to turn and to drop a little, and that will probably knock you off balance. So think about the hips staying equal. All of that rotation happens in the hips, and we're softening the hips down by bending that standing leg. Good. And release the legs, and give the legs a shake out. So with the arms, it's a similar position with the rotation in the shoulder. We can do outward rotation, which is where we take the thumbs up towards the ceiling and the palms face forward. And we could do inward rotation, which is where we take the palms behind us, thumbs go down and the palms, and we rotate inwards with the shoulders. So for Garudasana, we do a little bit of inward rotation. So take the arms, just so we can practice, take the arms out in front of you. Lift the right hand over the left, cross the arms high up above the elbows as you can, and give yourself a hug. So take your fingertips behind your shoulders, and perhaps you may be even able to walk the fingers behind you a little bit. Notice that the elbows we want the elbows to cross. So we're drawing the elbows away from each other as we walk the fingers back behind us. Squeeze the elbows together. Notice whether this generates some heat, and lift them up towards your chin. You're going to release the fingers, but do it slowly. Keep the elbows squeezing together, and then draw the backs of the hands towards each other. So this might not happen. You might be here. You might be able to get the backs of the hands together. You might be able to then hold on to your thumb, or you may be able to swap the hand position so the palms come together, okay, into full eagle. If that's the case, you want to walk middle fingers towards each other. Keep the elbows lifted, gaze through the hands. Good. And then release those arms, give them a shake out. Let's lift the left arm over the right, give yourself a hug once more. So just crossing the arms, so the left arm's now on top. Once again, walk the fingers behind your back, squeeze your elbows together, lift your elbows up towards your chin. The more you squeeze, the more work you'll get in the shoulders. So as we gently release the hands, keep the elbows squeezing together, and then encourage the backs of the hands towards each other, either holding onto the thumb, or if you're able to cross the hands completely, walk the palms together, lift the elbows up, gaze through your arms. Good. And release and shake out. So you can either continue to practice both elements individually, or we can link that all together. So coming into Tadasana, feeling grounded through both feet. Soften the knees, and let's take the right leg over the left. Come into the leg position that works for you, and it may vary night on night, day on day. Keep the standing leg soft. It's fine to place the foot down, toes down on the floor, if that works better for your balance. Take the arms out in front of you. We're going to take the left over the right and find the arm position that works best for you. Find something soft, something still, and settle your gaze. Keep the knees bent, gazing through the hands. Shoulders are soft, away from the ears. And when you're ready to come out, undo the arms, undo the legs, come back into Tadasana in your own time. And when you're ready to go to the other side, once again, just feel settled through the mat, softening both knees. This time we're going to take the left leg over the right. Find the leg position that works for you. Toes can be down on the mat if that helps your balance. They can be resting on the outside of the calf or wrapped all the way around. When you've found your balance, take the arms out in front of you, right arm over left. Find the arm position that works for you. Find your drishti, your gaze, on a still point on the floor or the wall in front of you. Keep the knees soft, keep the breathing steady. And once again, when you're ready to come out whenever your body tells you it's time to come out. You don't always have to wait for me to tell you to come out. If you feel it's time, come out in reverse. So coming out of the movement is just as important as how we get in. Fantastic. We're going to do a sequence of warrior postures now. So take your feet a good distance apart. Lift up with the heel of the left foot. Turn it out strongly. Plant the heel down and feel the outer edge of the foot in contact with the mat. If you feel the outer edge of the foot coming off at any time, power through the leg, drive that outer edge back down. Turn the toes of the right foot out so that they're 90 degrees. Inner edge of the foot parallel to the edge of the mat. If you need to turn the toes in a little bit, if that feels better for your front knee, then please go ahead and do so. It's important that when you bend the knee, so we can go ahead and bend the knee tracks over the toes. So if that means turning your toes in a bit, that's absolutely fine. Find a position with the legs where you can have the front knee over the front ankle. Eventually we're aiming to have this front thigh parallel to the floor. The hips are going to be fluid and we're going to turn the chest and the shoulders along the long edge of the mat. Lift the arms to shoulder height, palms facing down, and we're gazing over the right fingertips. Feel as though somebody were drawing you back through this back hand, through your left hand, keeping the shoulders stacked over the hips. Keeping that knee over the front ankle. We're going to work with 3 breaths now, working to reverse warrior and then asana. So when you're ready, palm of the right hand up. Breathing in, reverse warrior, so the back hand comes down to the back thigh, stretching into the top hand. And breathing out, right elbow to right knee, left hand comes up over into asana. Breathing in, reverse warrior. And breathing out, asana. Right elbow, right knee, keep the chest open. Once more, breathing in, enjoy that side stretch. And breathing out, asana and hold. Breathing in for 1. And continuing to take 5 breaths here. If you feel that you can keep the chest open, one shoulder stacked above the other, feel free to take the hand to the floor. Turn the palm face up, breathing in. Draw yourselves back into warrior 2. Push through that front foot, lifting yourselves up. Arms come down. And then reverse the feet. So heel of the right foot out strongly, toes of the left 90 degrees or thereabouts. Breathing in, float the arms up. Breathing out, Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2. So I bounce around just a little to find the right position with my feet. There's still energy through the back foot, the front knees over the front ankle. Good. The gaze is over the left fingers. Feel that somebody's drawing you back through the right, so shoulders remain over the hips. Keep the front knee moving forwards. And then 3 transition between reverse warrior and asana. So breathing in, left hand face up, stretch up into your side stretch, reverse warrior. Breathing out, Parsvakonasana, elbow to knee, right arm overhead. Breathing in, reverse warrior, keep the hips low, keep that front knee bent. Breathing out, Parsvakonasana. Gaze up towards the sky if you can, otherwise straight ahead. Once more, breathing in, reverse warrior. Breathing out, Parsvakonasana for 5 breaths. Check in that the knee's still above the ankle, you still have weight in the outer edge of the back foot. If you can keep the chest open, feel free to take the hand to the floor. Turn the palm face up, 1 big in-breath, warrior 2, and then push through that front foot to lift you back up. Take the hands to the hips, realign the feet so that they're facing forwards. Good. You might want to grab yourself a belt. We're going to take the arms behind, interlace the fingers behind the back. So if you think you may need a belt for that, then grab a belt or a tie. A dressing gown belt is absolutely fine. Keeping the legs wide apart once you've got your belt. We're going to soften the knees and take the hips back in space. So we're beginning to come into a forward fold, but keeping the front of the body long. Keep taking the hips back in space, keep bending the knees. What we're doing is we're lowering the belly and the chest in between the thighs. So the legs stay nice and deeply bent. You can release the hands to the ankles or to the shins. Allow the upper body to relax down. So I'll turn to the side so you can see bent knees, hips back in space, and we're lowering the torso in between the thighs. What we don't want to do is this, okay? So we don't want to have this rounded. Bend the knees as much as you need to so you can keep the back nice and straight. Take the hips back and lower the whole body. Interlace your fingers behind your back, or if you're using the belt, just hold the belt. Knees are still deeply bent, and we're going to lift the arms off of the back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, relax the head down. And then from here, keeping the torso where it is, very slowly begin to lift the hips up into space. The neck stays relaxed, just check in, make sure the neck's relaxed. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, crown of the head moving down towards the floor, and moving the arms overhead, almost as though they were going to touch down on the floor behind your head, perhaps one day. So we could take the tailbone up to the sky now, but keep the torso long, keep the neck relaxed. Take the hands back to your hips, soften the knees deeply, so nice big deep bend, breathing in, very slowly lifting the torso up and straightening the legs. Good. Jumping or stepping the feet back together. Step towards the front of your mats. Breathing in, lift up with the hands. Breathing out, forward fold. Breathing in, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Breathing out, plank, chaturanga. Breathing in, upward facing dog. Breathing out, downward facing dog. Soften the knees, take them to the floor. Untuck the toes and coming into a kneeling position. So for the next part of the class we're going to need a belt and a block. So grab yourselves either a yoga belt if you have one, if you don't, dressing gown belt, tie, whatever you can lay your hands on, and a block or a book, anything this kind of shape really. Come into a kneeling position or a comfortable seated position. It's fine to sit on a cushion, it's fine to have some padding in between your calves and your thighs if that feels better for you. And then take hold of your belt, and you want to take a nice wide grip of the belt. If you're prone to hyperextension through the arms, then think about having a small micro bend in the arms. For most of us, it's fine to have them straight, but if you know that you tend to lock in the elbows, just slightly bend the arms a little. So nice wide grip with the belt. Pull the belt apart so there's no slack. So we want to be actively pulling with the arms, and then lift the arms overhead. Notice the tendency to happen is when we lift the arms overhead, we tend to arch the back and the chest lifts. So think about keeping all of this tucked in. We want the belly in, lower rib cage in, and the chest slightly in. But we still want a nice straight line with the shoulders above the hips. So we're avoiding the belly sticking out. Belly in, lower ribs in. Nice wide stance on the belt. Small micro bend if you need to. Keep the belly tucked in, keep the lower ribs tucked in, and find that place just above your head where the arms don't want to go over, and just play around with that place. So you might need to take the arms slightly further apart so that you can get your arms overhead, and know that's fine. Keep pulling on the belt actively, and find a place where you can take the arms back nice and slowly behind your back. And then once again, arms equally away from your side, lower ribs tucking in, and we begin to lift the arms back overhead. Once again, if you can't do this, take the belt wider apart. Okay, and once more, nice and slowly, take the arms overhead. Keep the belly in, keep the lower ribs in, and take the arms back over. So continue to work in that way. Notice the tendency for one shoulder to creep closer to the ear than the other, and try to keep them an equal distance apart. So there's no prizes for having the arms really close if that means you can't take the arms back overhead. Everybody's built differently, so everybody will have a different grip on the belt, but we do want to be pulling that belt taut. Good. And once you've done 10 to 15 of those movements, taking the arms backwards and forwards, then give the shoulders a shake out, and you can get rid of your belt. Take hold of your block now, and you want to have a grip on the block so that your hands are roughly shoulder distance apart. And we want to push on the block. So as soon as you feel everything becoming light and the block just about to drop from your grasp, stop, push. So we want the lots of tension through the block. Starting from your kneeling position with the block down. Once again, shoulders above hips, belly and lower ribs tucking in. Push deeply through the block with both hands, and very slowly begin to lift the block up so that the arms are parallel to the floor. Keep squeezing the block. Then begin to lift them up so that they're in between parallel and vertical, so about halfway up. And then keep squeezing the block, keep the belly tucked in, keep the lower ribs tucked in, and take the arms overhead. Keep squeezing the block, keep the arms straight, keep the belly tucked in. And now very slowly keep squeezing the block, keep the elbows high, but bend the arms at the elbow so that the block comes down to the base of your neck. Keep the elbows squeezing in, keep squeezing the block, and then very slowly lifting back up. Elbows squeezing in, staying high, lower ribs squeezing in. Take the block to 45 degrees, keep squeezing. Take the block so the arms are parallel, and slowly lower the block all the way down. And you may have generated a little bit of heat in your shoulders, and you can get rid of the block. I'm going to come back into puppy pose now. We did practice at the beginning of the class, but I'd like to take a slightly different stance on it. So For most of us, puppy pose is a passive pose. So we're relaxing into the pose, we're stretching the underarms, the triceps, stretching the front of the body. And I'd like you to come into the posture now. We will do that passive pose again because it's so nice, but we're also going to try an active puppy. So just as we were talking before about keeping the belly drawn in, tucking under with the lower ribs and drawing the front of the body in. It's almost like you're drawing it in. So the collarbone and the pubic bone come together. Slight rounding in the back, but that rounding's just because we squeezed the abdominals in. And we're going to practice our puppy pose with that feeling. So coming into cat, and before we go anywhere, think about belly in, lower ribs in, almost as though somebody were giving you a punch in the belly and you would kind of lift up against it. And then begin to walk the hands away. Keep the hips over the knees once more. Walk the hands as far away as you can, but keep all of that tucking in. So the belly tucking in, lower ribs tucking in, and then begin to take the armpits down towards the floor. So notice that my head's tucked in, because as you squeeze the rib cage in, you can draw the chin into the chest to take that movement further. Opening under the armpits still, but keep that belly drawing in and the lower ribs tucking in. Have a feeling that you can wrap the triceps around by your ears, keep the belly and the lower ribs tucked in. And now, let that go and releasing into your passive puppy stretch. So notice the difference. Chest can come down towards the floor, arms are open, and we can release in. Good. And then lifting back up into cat and sit back onto your heels. Good. Now have a lay down on your backs. We're going to, so we've worked, generated some heat in the shoulders. I'd like us now to work through the hips. So lying on your backs, knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor, and take your right ankle over your left knee and begin to open out with this right knee. Notice any movement in the hips. So ideally we want the hips to stay level and even as we outwardly rotate the thigh. If you have any discomfort in your knee, then back off, because discomfort in your knee suggests that your hip has stopped opening and you need to back off a little bit and encourage that opening in the hip and not the knee joint. One thing we can do to help protect the knee is to flex the foot, so pointing the toes up towards the ceiling, and encourage the outer edge of the foot up. So it's a flat foot. And what that will do is just activate the muscles down here and keep your knee in that protected position. As long as that knee feels okay, then you can work with moving the knee away from you, feeling this opening in the hip joint. If this feels super comfortable and you want to go a stage further, then lift the left foot from the floor. Take the hands, one arm through the gap in your legs, the other one around the outside, either holding the back of the thigh or around the front of the shin. And then we're encouraging the left knee in towards us. Keep that right knee safe. Remember, only go as far as your knee's comfortable. You should be feeling something around the hip, the pelvis area. So working with whichever variation of these hip openers is better for you. And it's fine to stay at the first stage. If this feels okay and you want to go a little bit deeper, then you can take one elbow around the sole of the foot and the other elbow around the knee. So one elbow around the sole of the foot, the other one around the knee. We're cradling the lower leg like a baby. And then if you want to, you can drop the left foot back to the floor. And you can rock the baby from side to side, encouraging all the time the shin to come down towards the chest, parallel to the chest, so the ankle and the knee are at the same height. Lowering both hips down towards the floor if they've lifted. And if all's well, you can straighten out the left leg. Bringing that left knee back in and releasing that right leg down to the floor. So back to your starting positions, both knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor, and we'll go to the left side. So once again, the first stage is to take the left ankle over the left knee. And just playing here and just finding out, exploring, is your knee comfortable? Does it help to flex the foot? Does it help to bring the outer edge of the foot up so that your foot feels flat? And then perhaps just using your left hand to encourage that external rotation of the thigh. It isn't jamming the hand against the knee and pushing it away. It's this outward rotation that we're after here. So the movement comes from the hip joint. So you might want to stay here and work here if you're feeling some opening in the hip joint, that's great. If you do want to go further, then lift the right foot from the floor and hold around the back of the thigh or around the front of the shin. And then we're encouraging the right knee in, all the time that left knee moving away. And encouraging both hips down towards the floor. Breathing into any places around the hip area that you need to release. Once more, it's fine to stay here, it's fine to go to the previous version. If you want an extra stretch, cradling that leg. One elbow around the knee, one elbow around the sole of the foot. And encouraging the knee and the ankle to come down at an equal height. Releasing the right foot to the floor. Straightening that right leg out if that feels okay for you. Breathing deep into your hip joint. Feeling both hips coming down towards the floor. And then releasing and giving the legs a shake out. Just either rolling onto your side or rolling up into a seated position. Cross your ankles, draw the heels in towards you. Rolling over your feet, bringing your hands to the floor, untucking your legs, tuck the toes and lift yourselves into downward facing dog. Take a moment to walk the dog, easing out in the hip joints. So straightening one leg, perhaps taking a nice stretch up the side of the body, down the back of that leg, and then straightening the other leg, driving the heel down, pushing through the same hand and encouraging that side stretch and the stretch down the hamstrings. Good. And then coming equally lifted through both heels, softening the knees gently, encouraging the armpits down towards the floor, belly in towards the thighs, pushing through the hands, and then begin to take the heels back and down. Really feeling that nice stretch in the back of the legs. Look towards your hands, allow the shoulders to come forwards a little. We're going to lift the right foot and take the right knee forward towards the right wrist and settle ourselves down into a king pigeon pose. So in king pigeon pose, I'm going to turn to face the camera so that you can see the angle of my leg. So the knee is by the right wrist. And we want to encourage both hips down equally. So if you're here with quite a lot of lift in the hips, that's absolutely fine if both hips are level. What we want to avoid is the left hip lifting up and we're sitting on our right hip, okay? Because we don't have a nice even spine in this position. We've introduced a twist into the spine. So you can either have your ankle close into the hip, and you can even come into a full flexion of the knee, so there's no angle on that lower leg at all. Or you can have the ankle a little bit out to the side so that the left hip drops down onto that left heel. If your hips are really open, then you can take the foot all the way out so that it's parallel along the mat. Again, being cautious in the knee. There's no prizes for hurting the knee. So take the position of the leg that feels right for you and encouraging those hips down equally. So it really doesn't matter how far off the floor you are, because you can use your hands. If your hands don't reach, then use blocks or books to support your hands, and gently lowering both hips down to the floor. You can come forwards if this helps. Again, both hands equally forward, both hips equally down. So the shoulders, the hips are running along the short edge of your mat. If all's well, you can begin to lift up with the shoulders, so the shoulders come above your hips. Lifting up with the chest, rolling the shoulders back and down, both hips coming down equally. So pausing, finding a position that works for you. Any discomfort in the lumbar spine, I'd like you to come forwards and just take the back arch out of the lumbar spine. Keep lifting through the shoulders, roll the shoulders back and down, activate your upper back muscles. Good. Wherever you are, place both hands down, tuck the toes of the back foot under, push through your hands and lifting back into downward facing dog, and have a stretch out here. So once again, walking the dog, whatever feels right for you. And then gaze towards your hands, bring the shoulders forwards and take the right knee in towards, the left knee into the left wrist. Find the position of that foot that works for you. So it might be right along parallel to the mat, it might be tucked directly under the hip. There might be a slight angle. And then either supporting with your hands, just dropping the hips down, equally down towards the floor. You can walk the hands forward as you find that position with your hips, perhaps rocking from side to side, noticing the difference. So you can rock onto one side and rock onto the other. Notice that difference and then come into the middle space. And if all's well at the back, we begin to lift the shoulders above the hips. Thinking about breathing in and lengthening, breathing out, rolling the shoulders back and down. Taking the hands back a little bit further, breathing in, lengthening, breathing out, rolling the shoulders back and down. Hips are equal, shoulders are equal. Breathing in, lift the chest, breathing out, shoulders back and down. And then releasing the hands out in front once more. Tuck the back toes under, push through the hands and lifting into downward facing dog and taking a stretch out. Dropping the knees down to the floor, untucking the toes, coming into a kneeling position. So coming into Dandasana, and we're going to work into Gomukhasana, our peak pose. We're going to work through a number of different leg variations so you can find one that suits you, and then we'll introduce the arms as well. So sitting in Dandasana with the legs extended away. If you want to sit up on a block, then please feel free to sit up on a block. So if you find that you're dropping off the back of your sitting bones and the back's beginning to round, pop yourself on a block or some books so that you can sit nice and tall. And then we're going to bend the right leg and take the right foot onto the outside of the left leg and encourage the leg to be just above the knee of that straight leg. And then we're going to allow the right knee to drop out to the side, and the foot of the right leg may lift up, or it may just rest down on the floor, whichever it works is fine. So you've got a figure 4 with the legs, and this might be where you want to stay, this might be where your hips feel comfortable. If you want to go a stage further, then we draw the right heel up halfway up the left thigh. So as you can see, the knee is now drawing further across and we're coming into that inward rotation of the leg. If all is still well here, the hips are both settled down on the floor and your knee is okay, then you can draw the heel up into by the hip, so that one knee stacks above the other and the right heel is by the left hip. Okay, so there's 3 positions already for you to play with. If all is well so far, you can have a go at bending the left leg as well. So rocking onto the hip of the left leg and encouraging that knee in, and then you can settle both hips down in between your feet. So this is where you need to do a little bit of a check. If both hips settle down quite easily and the hips are equal and your knees are okay, then that's great, all's well. If you find that this right hip is hitched up quite high and you're already kind of a bit crunched over, then I'd encourage you just to straighten this lower leg out again. So have the left leg straight. There's really no problem with that. You can still do the rest of the posture. So only have both knees bent if you know both hips settle down in between your feet. And then resting with your palms on the soles of the feet for a moment and pausing into your breath. Breathing deep into your hips. So for most people, this will be quite a deep hip opening. So we need to pause and give our hips time to settle. Now we're going to introduce the arms. So you might want to have a belt handy, and I'll show you why. I'm going to turn with my back to the camera so that you can see what I'm doing with my arms that come back into Gomukhasana legs. So we want to lift the left hand up to the sky, bend the elbow and place the left hand onto the middle of the upper back. And then we're going to swim the right arm around, all the way behind, and then encourage the back of the hand into the middle of the back, so that your fingers may be able to touch, you may be able to grip with the fingertips. If that grip doesn't work, then take a belt in your top hand, circle the arm round and hold on to the belt. And then once you're here, you can begin to walk the hands up towards each other. Okay, so that's how you can use a belt for the arm position. So either using your belt or gripping your fingertips, begin to take a forward fold. And once again, if you've got that left leg straight, you can still forward fold. Forward fold, encourage the forehead in towards the knees, and breathing here for about 5 breaths. When you're ready to come up, breathing in and lifting up, releasing the hands or releasing the belt. If you've got both knees bent, you can come into the magic switch round, taking the hands in front of you, leaning forwards and lifting your hips into the air, keeping your feet on the floor, but swiveling on the balls of the toes. Take your arms all the way around your right leg, all the way around behind you. Keep walking your hands around, swiveling on the balls of the feet, all the way around your left leg until you bend the knees and bring your hips back down into the centre of your legs again. So now you'll find that your left knee should be above your right. If you were using the modified leg variation, simply undo your legs, start back in Dandasana, And this time we're taking the left foot onto the outside of the right leg. You can either come into that figure 4, so the left knee dropping down to the side, or you can encourage the left heel to the mid thigh, or take it all the way up in line with the hip, so one knee stacks above the other. If all's well here, you can stay here, or rock onto the right hip and bring both heels into your hips, and pausing with the hands on the soles of the feet for a couple of breaths. When you're ready, we're going to introduce the arms once more. So the right arm comes up, bending at the elbow, left arm swims around, either holding onto a belt or holding onto your fingers behind your back, and then softening over your legs, keeping your hips down as you fold, and then tucking the chin in. Chin comes towards the knees. Breathing deep into your hip joints. Breathing in, lifting up, releasing the hands, undoing the legs, coming back into Dandasana. Bending both knees, bringing the soles of the feet together and having your legs in a diamond shape. So have the heels quite a distance away from your pelvis. So we don't want them tucked in as we would with cobbler. This is a nice relaxed diamond shape with the legs. And begin to shuffle off of your sitting bones, bringing yourselves into a nice relaxed forward fold. No pulling, just allowing gravity to draw your body down. The reason we shuffle is that sometimes the sitting bones can get stuck, so move and wriggle in any way you need to release. And then releasing the head down, everything relaxing, shoulders, arms, the back is rounding. So breathing there for another few breaths. Before gently drawing yourselves into a seating position. Good. So gathering any warm things that you need. You might need a blanket. You might want to grab a lavender eye pillow if you have one. We're going to come into Shavasana. Once you have everything that you need, gently laying yourselves back onto your back and coming into Shavasana. So lying down, making sure you feel completely comfortable. Know that it's fine for you to adjust yourself, come into any position which is more comfortable for you. But I'll guide you through Shavasana as we would usually do. So know you may like to have your knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor. Allow your knees to come together so they're fully supported. But otherwise, extending the legs away from the hips. Know that from time to time you may hear sounds around you. And know that these sounds can help you relax even further, even deeper. As you go into a deep relaxation, staying awake and aware, and even if your mind wanders, my voice will go with you. So in Shavasana we lie flat on the floor, legs extended away, your feet at least hip distance apart, adjusting your hips so they're completely comfortable, extending the heels away and then completely letting go of the legs. Allowing the feet to fall out to the sides, resting evenly. Allow your arms to be a comfortable distance from your sides, feeling the rotation from the arms, from your shoulders, and the shoulder blades comfortably supported, comfortably resting against the floor. Your palms
facing upwards. Allow the shoulders, arms, hands to completely relax. Your fingertips gently curl, just as they would in sleep. And as you lie on the floor, preparing to be totally relaxed, feel the contact of your body with the floor. And feel completely supported by the floor. So your heels, the backs of your legs, your hips, the back of your body, your shoulders, arms and head, the whole of your body fully supported. Have an awareness of your body lying straight down the mat, your head evenly, comfortably supported at the top of the neck, back of your neck long, crown of the head moving away from the shoulders. Allow the eyes to be closed. Feel the eyes relaxing deep in the eye sockets. The muscles around the eyes are soft. Relax the jaw, the tongue. Allow the face to be soft. Forehead is smooth, the cheeks relaxed. Feeling the base of your spine at the hips resting flat on the floor. The lower back releasing gently downwards. Feel your weight evenly supported either side of your spine. And allow your arms, your legs to feel heavy. Safe now to relax completely. Let the muscles be soft. And begin to listen to the stillness in your body. Trust your body. Allow it to let go. Fully supported, evenly balanced. Allow your body to fall away. And now start to observe your breath, watching, listening, feeling the breath moving gently in and out. Being fully aware of your breath, and know that with each exhalation, with each out-breath, your body will automatically relax even further, even deeper. So you may want to rest, considering the breath. I know it's fine for you to do that. But you may also like to continue your journey with a visualization. So allow your mind to be free now as we move on. And perhaps you can bring to mind to imagine in any way that you can that you're witnessing a twilight on a warm summer's evening. Maybe there are sounds associated with this. Perhaps you can feel a cool breeze. Perhaps you can hear the trees. Be there in any way that you can. And if it's comfortable to do so, allow yourself to settle there. Notice the colours that appear in the sky. Bring your attention, your awareness to the beautiful violet colour that often appears in the sky at the end of a summer's day. Bring your attention to the Sahasrara chakra at the crown of the head, the seat of higher consciousness, of spirituality, of union with the self. Allow yourself to bathe in the beautiful violet glow. Watch how that colour gradually merges with the blue of the sky, making a soft indigo colour. Think now of the Ajna chakra, the third eye, the seat of guidance and contemplation, of intuition. Allow yourself to bathe in the colour indigo. Notice too the bands of brilliant blue that remain in the sky as the summer day draws to a close. Bring your awareness here to Vishuddhi chakra at the throat centre, attributed to communication and expression. And allow yourself here to bathe in the colour blue. Bringing your attention to the shades of green as the blue sky reflects onto the trees and grass. And think of the Anahata chakra at the heart centre, attributed with the power to unite negative and positive energies and transform into harmony. Notice the golden yellow rays of sunshine still visible in the sky, bringing your awareness to the solar plexus, Manipura chakra, the storehouse of energy, the power of thought, and allow yourself to bathe here in beautiful golden yellow. Watch now as this blends into a vibrant shade of orange. Bring your awareness to the Vasisthana chakra, the sacral centre, bringing balance and harmony with the central nervous system. Finally, be aware of the wonderful warm glow of red that touches the earth, denoting life, strength, vitality and energy, with your awareness at the base, at Muladhara chakra. Allow yourself to rest in this rainbow of colours, your perception of these varying shades, knowing that however you perceive or interpret them is just right for you. The balance and harmony of these colours and what they bring to your body and mind is exactly what you need at this moment. Allow your chosen colours to wash over you until you hear my voice once more. So now it's time to bring your mind back to your body Once again, feeling your body fully supported by the floor. Time to take conscious control of your breathing. Take a couple of deep inhalations now. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Doing this a couple of times, letting the breath go through the mouth with a sigh. Becoming aware of the sounds around you, both close to you and in the distance. Acknowledge them and let them go. Gently opening your eyes, seeing everything in your field of vision, acknowledging it and letting it go. And now bringing some small movements back into the body, moving the fingers, moving the toes, moving the ankles, the wrists, perhaps moving your head from side to side. Using the mat beneath you to support your movements, taking a stretch in any way that feels right for you. Perhaps drawing your knees up onto your chest, moving the back against the floor. And then when you're ready, rolling over onto your side and take a couple of breaths here before drawing yourself into a comfortable seated position to close your relaxation. Namaste.